Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. In today's video, part 1 through part 4 would be in this video. So mind you, Splitgate 2 lore is still in its early stages. So this will be the last lore video until Splitgate 2 lore continues to expand. So without further ado, make sure to like so this video can get shout out to more people, subscribe if you enjoy my content, and hit the bell to stay notified when I upload. Okay. What is SSL? SSL, also known as the Soul Splitgate League, is a sport where the planets in the solar system come together as one to compete in the Splitgate games, fighting for glory, riches, honor, or even fighting in desperation. Each faction has a homeland, Eros on Earth, Meridian in Venus, and Sabrasque on Mars. Eros having the most championship wins in the SSL, but also the most maps in Splitgate, being Academy, Bypass, Ozone, and Stadium. Let's take a careful look at these maps. Academy is a place where the people who want to be picked or get picked go and learn to ace the portal and to control the arena in the SSL. As you can see in the trophy room, this is where they show off their achievements from the SSL. Now taking a look outside, we are in space, far from Earth's atmosphere, where the Academy have its own Niven ring. So the students and the staff can live in this academy together. Bypass, the second Eros map, having beautiful sceneries and an amazing soul space view called Ionia. If you stay in this building, you will hear a voice. It's a little hard to hear, but it's still interesting how they can put little details like this in here. Ozone, another map set in the Eros faction, located on Earth, high in the sky, of course. This map don't really have anything special except some advertisements, maybe some type of energy drink. Makes sense, since it is Eros we're talking about. A video talking about Splitgate 2 ads? We gotta do that. Anyways, Stadium, the last Eros map set on Earth in the city. Another Stadium map like Ozone, but just more advertisements. And maybe one little cool thing that is in both sides of the map. There are hallways behind these walls. Maybe it's locker rooms, or it may open up in future game mode. Who knows? Meridian, the faction that achieves to be perfect, having the most advanced technology out of both factions, having the maps of Core, Eden, and Zenith, all of which are set on the planet Venus. Or is it? Core, a deep map within underground maintained by the Meridians to harvest and ship very valuable resources. If the SSL wasn't live at this moment, the workers would get their helmets and get to work. Not just humans, but these little bots as well. What do these do exactly? Well, you know the Marvins from Titanfall? Well, they're basically like that, with some who specialize in work like electrical, computer, and etc., with others who specialize in combat. Also, the environment is pretty interactable. I wonder what these resources are. Only time will tell. Eden, a map that I don't know if it's from Meridian, but I'll say it is because the colors match up with Meridian colors. The only interesting about this map is that there's a spa, a huge planet, and a ship that flies around. Oh wait, there's a Meridian car named Atlas. Oh, where have I seen this? Oh yeah, on the map Ozone, a Eros car. Will we be able to ride these luxury cars in the future? Only time can tell. I really hope we do though. Remember when I said there really wasn't anything important in this map? Well, I lied. Make sure to pay attention, because if you look closely in the expo area, you will see a sanctum wall that was excavated by Fume Laboratories. They continue to unravel the mysteries of the Cochran. We're going to be talking about that later in the video. In Fume Laboratories, the Fume family has a collection of ancient artifacts all over Eden. So I'm guessing that the Fume family made Fume Laboratories to do research on the Cochran, tackling these Cochran artifacts since post-impact event in 2232. Post-impact event. And mind you, more Cochran stuff later in this video, so stay tuned because it's getting mad interesting. And lastly, for the Meridian maps is Zenith, a close but very, very big city ship. Whatever this is, I love it. And it's above Venus. Taking his ships from the planet and back, a vastly huge city, with the middle having the big showdown, the Splitgate League, with the rainforest biome, lava biome, and a huge hall of fame. Let's take a look in the lava biome. This is a simulation of the volcano Monstrum Mounds, which is known to be the largest volcano in the galaxy, which is located in Inferno. And the onslaught map Inferno is definitely in the planet Inferno. They just look too similar, and the name is too similar as well. Now taking a look in the forest biome, named the New Phaloi, located on the planet Ananux in star system Sirius A. I believe that the onslaught map Syncdom is linked up to this planet. Also, if you go in the Hall of Fame hallway, you will see that the Galactus is featured with other guns, and another gun that we have never seen before. Shout out to Anixity for pointing out these little worded details in the Zenith map. Sabrasque. Sabrasque lacks technology compared to the other factions, but Sabrasque is a mighty faction that honors its homeland, having the maps of Frontier, Grit, and just those two. Frontier, a map that at first glance, I second guess if it was even in the Sabrasque faction due to all the plant life. But then I remember that Splitgate 2 is set 1,000 to 2,000 years in the future, where humans can make any planet habitable. Frontier must be a bioregenerative life support system where there are artificial ecosystem designed to support human life with artificial plants and trees that adapted to Mars environment and water that has been supplied over time. In due time, the atmosphere on Mars changed to be more habitable for humans, with so creating soil that can grow at high rates on a planet like Mars. Grit, a stadium within the city where people watch the SSL before their very eyes on Mars. Grit has 2 locker rooms, 1 firing range, another room like an indoor gym, and finally the middle of the map where Sabrasque honored their faction with a statue with 17 trophies in the Champion Hall, and if you look carefully, jetpack high up, and you can see a very big headless Sabrasque statue. I wonder why it's headless. The 5 simulation maps are what I theorize to be a freely ever-changing arena where all the factions or just one come here to train before the SSL. And finally, the 5 onslaught maps. We theorize that the Syncdom onslaught map is on the planet of Ananux, and Inferno on the planet Inferno, and Fracture floating in space next to this big, beautiful planet. I wonder what this planet is, and it kind of reminds me of Titanfall for some reason, in a good way, of course. Titanfall's peak. Anyways, but I wonder what planet Glacier is on. Only time will tell. And talking about time, Glacier was founded in 2781, while Drought, Fracture, and Inferno was founded in 2271. And, oh, wait a minute. Wasn't there another onslaught map? Oh yeah. Syncdom. A very strange map. Not only because it connects the other onslaught maps together, but because if you look around, you would see weird symbols unknown to any human language carved into these stones, balls placed or floating with unknown icons and strange noises sounding almost unnatural, making us wonder in this big solar system, are we the only ones? With how small, destroyed, and barely any SSL buildings, I wonder if the SSL rushed their new game mode in order to keep their audience entertained. Or maybe the Cochran resides in this planet waiting for the right time to strike. But somehow the SSL has still managed to secure this area. Was it abandoned when they got here, or did they have to fight something to acquire this land and this technology? What are characters in Splitgate 2? Well, Eros, Meridian, and Sabrasque, the three factions, have character skins. But if you keep looking, eventually you will see just character. What does this mean? Well, simple really. Characters in the different factions are just different people. It's not just one dude named Eros, because if that was the case, then this would be a hero shooter. But when it comes to lore, maybe these characters will have their own story one day. Back in the alpha beta 5 months ago, there were Splitgate 2 comics, and if we just go to the collection area, where you can see the 3 characters' names and backstories, if you go in the game, their names are still there. Plus, the final skin named Adoro is accurate to the first volume of the first Splitgate 2 comic. Going back to the collections, there were even supposed to be more characters, some of which that don't even look human. And the ones that we see in the game must have been the ones we would have seen in the collection having their own backstory. Both Meera, Rhino, and Adoro, the MVP contenders of the SSL, also known as the Sol Splitgate League, Sol meaning solar system, is a squad that dominates in the SSL. How did they get here? Rhino, each time he dies, he goes into this respawn space. He chases this very important thing, but each time he gets close, it seems out of reach. Rhino would purposely get into fights in the SSL in order to chase this thing. Again and again, the cycle never ends and the answer never comes, leaving his team to lose every match. Just like my teammates. Rhino desires to stay in this respawn longer, but unfortunately for him, it doesn't work like that. He goes out with his pal for a drink, and after a beat-up session, his pal breaks it to him that she can't have Rhino on the team due to him not locking the freak in. Several months later, Rhino looks at the Mars sky. His mother speaks some words about him and how his great-grandfather came from nothing and sacrificed everything for Sabrasque, even when he wasn't yet Sabrasque. And so Rhino tells him to keep living since Tatia and a beautiful girl died. But he still stands. I'm guessing that this beautiful girl is his daughter. A month before the Sol Splitgate League, Rhino can't be able to contend due to no team wanting to recruit him due to his past games. So in the meantime, Rhino is patrolling for any raiders until moments later, Raider shows up and one of the children reminds him of someone he loved. It was his daughter. 1 week before the Sol Splitgate League, a guy shows up to Rhino to add him into his team. Who is this guy? Well, later in this video, it will make sense, so stay tuned. Bolt. No, not that Bolt, this Bolt. In 2282, located in Cyrene on Earth in Splitgate Academy, Bolt and his sister named Dart are training to be a part of the SSL. A guy by the name of Alpha Elo comes in to scout for a teammate to join his squad. Bolt goes first, beating the Splitgate Academy course record, thinking he already won. His sister Dart is up next, beating his record, leaving everyone to celebrate her achievement. But Bolt was envious, giving us his childhood backstory that his sister Dart always beat him in every race. Nobody believed that he is the best splitter, so he wants to prove it to everyone by doing the tower run. The tower run is going up at a high place with your portal gun, then jumping off, placing your portal on the floor seconds before hitting the ground with a respawn. Unfortunately, Bolt is so determined to prove that he is the best splitter, he refuses to use the respawn tech. Dart tries to warn him, but he refuses. Finally, Bolt is high enough to finish the stunt, but mid-air he hits a wall, but still making the portal in the end. They celebrate Bolt's stunt, but unfortunately, remember when Bolt hit the wall? Well, the coach saved the two siblings' life, resulting in the wall crushing the coach to his death, leaving Bolt walking away in guilt until a dude runs into Bolt, recruiting him and his team for the SSL. The same dude that recruited Rhino, and his name is Adoro, living the good life as a SSL contender. Moments later, Alpha Elo suddenly interrupts Adoro's time, saying that he is joining the Splitgate League and going to be the first to acquire the Splitgate Cup EGOTs before him. After that, Adoro had to lock in, scouting for teammates like Rhino, Bolt, and finally, Meera, located in Zenith, training for an impossible goal of perfection. After workout, she runs into a friend named FaZe, then proceeds to walk into the Zenith Sport Research Laboratory. Look at that little fella. After a student failed the test, he got demoted, and up next was Meera. She made every shot, but only got a 99%, not satisfying her goal of perfection. But this lady gives Meera the opportunity to acquire the perfection they are both looking for, implanting a cybernetic implant that gives Aces the portal gate hack ability without extra equipment, calling it hypersight. Meera is worried about the side effects that duels non-essential visuals, but if she is still willing, then they will go through with it. After some convincing, she went through the implants, but the side effects didn't affect her. Instead, it made her sight stronger and more vibrant. Due to this, they plan on executing her for being an irregular, but the head leader or professor lets her go with a track on her. Later, Meera is now on Earth, located in Sirene Eros faction, entering a hub, eventually running into Adoro. After some convincing, Meera joins Adoro team for the Soul Splitgate Cup. Adoro portals them both into Ozone, a super cruise ship located in North America, to have some fun. Then in the Central Museum of Total Art Repository in Scandinavia, showing some art that she might like. Then in the final stop in Mount Everest, eventually meeting the entire team, and the professor waiting for the right time to retrieve their experiment. Now in present time, Meera, Rhino, Bolt, and Adoro are the MVPs of the Soul Splitgate League. Face, Dart, and I'm guessing she is Frey, are also in the SSL, with only Alpha Elo being the only one we still have yet to see. A game about other planets. And the universe cannot be complete without something more scarier than humans. Something more unknown in this universe. And something hidden in plain sight. In today's video, we will be explaining everything we know about these beings called the Cochran. What are the Cochran? It all starts with a sanctum wall that was excavated by Fume Laboratories. They continue to unravel the mysteries of the Cochran. Fume Laboratories, the Fume family has a collection of ancient artifacts all over Eden. So I'm guessing that the Fume family made Fume Laboratories to do research on the Cochran, tackling these Cochran artifacts since post-impact event in 2232. So it seems that Fume Laboratories has been researching Sanctum to find the origin of the Cochran, or even where they are, because you look around, you would see weird symbols unknown to any human language carved into these stones, balls placed or floating with unknown icons and strange noises sounding almost unnatural. Very interesting. And fun fact, Sanctum is located on Earth. In part 1, I said Sanctum was maybe from a different planet, but thanks to Coma, it is confirmed so far that Sanctum is located on Earth. But let's dive deeper into this rabbit hole. What does this word Sanctum mean? Sanctum means a sacred or holy place, like a shrine or a sanctuary. And if we go into this area named Passage, we can hear a thing speaking. Listen closely. What does this mean? Let's first have a clear hearing of this thing's voice. Okay, well, that helped a little, but what does this mean? Okay. Let's go back to the name of this place. Passage, a key part of a paragraph, like highlighting an important sentence in an entire chapter of words. Okay, so this thing is reading some sort of sacred passage, but the question still remains, what does this mean? Hey, before we continue, let's get 25 likes for another part and for more lore videos. And thank you for over 20 likes on part 2. Without your support, I don't know where I would be right now. So without further ado, let's get back into the video. We can see structures with unknown symbols all over Sanctum. Wait, not just Sanctum, but in the lobby, we can see another one of these things that can open huge portal gates like in the Battle Royale. But why are there two? And most importantly, what is this glowy liquid everywhere? I believe that this liquid is the substance of making portals, and the humans a very long time ago found this new strange technology and used it for their own to harvest in the map core, and of course to create new technology like never before. Anyways, what are the Cochran? Are they humans, aliens, mutants? Well, I believe that they are aliens that have been on this earth before the humans, but that wouldn't make sense. Let's think for a second. It's somewhere above the year 2781, and you're telling me humans are now discovering this? No. They have been looking at this situation around the year 2100, and now it's starting to click? I have a theory. 1. The aliens at the wrong timing portaled to Earth from their home planet, but left just in time before the SSL would capture them. 2. The aliens are really good at hiding on Earth, and due to the humans discovering them so late is because they were so focused on other planets. Or 3, which might make sense because is it strange how there is so much water flowing from these rocks and moss all over these structures? Maybe this place, Sanctum, including the aliens, were all underwater until the water levels decreased, causing the aliens to leave their home, which kind of makes sense due to the humans in the real world only exploring 5% of the ocean when Earth is 71% water and 29% land. But here are the cons. For the first one, the structures and the technology is too embedded into the ground, so how can they portal all of this onto Earth? Well, here's another deflect. Since the founding of Sanctum is before somewhere around 2100, the place over time must have gradually become embedded into the soil, with some structures naturally crumbling over time. Now for the second one. Yes, humans are focused on other planets in the universe, but with such advanced technology, wouldn't we be able to see every inch of Earth with cameras and satellites? And for 3, the weather here seems to be pretty rainy, and this ain't the real world, so how can real life sea exploration be the same as in Splitgate 2 universe? Well, what if I tell you Splitgate 2 is somewhat accurate to the real world? You see, almost every planet and star in Splitgate 2 has been from real life, such as Sirius A and the solar system, with a sprinkle of fictional planets like Infernoth and etc. But tell me in the comments what your theory is and what you believe is more problematic but still possible. Anyways, okay, so we believe the Cochran are aliens, but we don't know where they came from or how the humans took so long until 2100 to find these structures that look otherworldly. We don't know what this dude is saying, but we do know he's reading a sacred passage. And finally, we don't know when these Cochran will show up. All we can do is research these unknown structures, harvest and research their technology, and wait for the day we figure it all out, or the day these Cochran appear for war. But remember, it's just a theory, a game theory. Okay, let me stop. Now comparisons to other games that Splitgate 2 might be inspired of when it comes to these aliens. Now the first thing that you might think is Halo, but I want to touch on the Destiny 2 aspect. Stay tuned for the Halo part though. So Destiny 2, the lore surrounding the aliens, had several major factions: the Hive, the Fallen, Cable, and the Vex, each with unique origins, motivations, and relationships with the Traveler and Darkness. The Hive are a parasitic insectoid species with a rigid social structure centered around the sword logic. The Fallen are a once great civilization brought low by the loss of their Traveler granted technology. The Cable are a highly militaristic and technologically advanced species. And the Vex are a mysterious race of cyberkinetic organisms with a complex network spanning galaxies. Now, the Cochran from Splitgate 2, I think that these aliens are more similar to the Cable and the Vex from Destiny 2. Now, I'm not deep into the Destiny 2 lore, but I do know is that the Vex have the ability to manipulate time and space, and their presence on Venus is ancient. Sounds familiar? The Cochran is very ancient on Earth, and they have the ability to literally manipulate space itself with the portals. Now, time maybe as well, since the Meridians can also manipulate some time, but we don't know how the Meridians got that technology. Maybe from the Cochran though. And the Cable in Destiny 2 operates throughout the solar system. The Cochran from Splitgate 2 maybe can also operate through the solar system with their portal technology. And Halo, which seems way too freaking accurate to the Cochran. Okay, so in the Halo universe, the Covenant is the primarily alien faction, a religious alliance of multiple species united by their worship of the Forerunners and their technology, particularly the Halo rings. And they initially waged war against humanity, believing them to be a front to their gods. Okay, now let's put this in Splitgate 2 perspective, okay? In the Splitgate 2 universe, the Cochran is a primary alien faction, a religious alliance of one species united by the worship of the blank and their technology, particularly in the portals, initially waging war against humanity, believing them to be a front to their gods. Now you're probably saying, but the Cochran don't have gods. Were you not paying attention in the video? Like I said in the middle of the video, I said that sanctum means sacred holy place, like a sanctuary. And the passage is them reading something that's very sacred. So they're reading something very sacred to their gods in their sanctuary. If you're telling me that these aren't aliens, I don't know what they are. There's ancient symbols all over Sanctum, but what does it mean? And what if I tell you that the first Splitgate has 3 maps with deep connections with the Cochran, aka aliens? Well, in today's video, I will be going over the Cochran lore in Splitgate 1 leading up to Splitgate 2 to give a better understanding of what, where, and who the Cochran are. Splitgate 1. At first, it seemed to have no lore, but if you look closely, there are clues everywhere. The Cochran seems to be an ancient species that in the present time either are extinct, moved to another planet, or hiding on Earth planning for war. Sorry, I just love war. But let's just say that the Cochran are the first intelligent species on Earth before the humans. But I don't think that they were born on Earth. Mind you, the Cochran are the ones who created the portal technology, so before they were on Earth, I believe they also created religious structures on other planets for their gods. As we see in the first Splitgate, Abyss, Forgone Destruction, and Impact, they all have Cochran symbols, structures, and even a crashed alien ship. First, let's take a look at Abyss. Abyss has a lot of Cochran symbols all over these walls that matches up with Splitgate 2, but one thing Splitgate 2 doesn't have are these statues. Maybe they're either the Cochran or the beings that the Cochran worships. Abyss even has shrines and wooden carvings of these beings, but one thing that confuses me the most is Abyss map bio saying Abyss was built underground as an unofficial arena away from prying eyes. Eventually, the cost of maintaining a Splitgate arena became too expensive and it was brought into the official circuit of sponsorships. So was Abyss built underground by the Cochran or the Splitgate games? Forgone Destruction also has lots of Cochran symbols and statues. But did you realize that the center of Forgone Destruction, there's a flying ball looking very similar to the ones in Sanctum? Not only that, but the statue seems to be holding a flying ball. Does that mean that the Cochran not only can manipulate space with the portals, but also can manipulate gravity? Hey, I believe it. Something interesting as well that caught my eye is the map bio saying many worship these ancient ruins left behind by a mysterious civilization. Forgone Destruction's original purpose is unknown, and identical ruins exist elsewhere on the planet where it was found. Now, this is news. Many worship the ancient ruins left behind by a mysterious civilization. Are you reading it how I'm reading it? Here, let me break it down in Leafoora language. Cochran worships these ancient ruins left behind by the Cochran civilization and has identical ruins elsewhere. I wonder where. Notice that it says left behind and not extinction. So that leaves us to one question. Where the heck are these Cochran? Impact. Map Bio says the impact site at Silvertree Farms signified the start of a new era, but many of the alien vessels' secret remains unsolved. Now this is good news. It says aliens and the start of a new era, but I don't think these are the Cochran. I believe that they are an entirely different species from another planet that happens to crash onto a farm on planet Earth in the middle of nowhere. Why do I believe this? Good question. I believe this because there are no ancient symbols, no anything worshipping their gods, and these eggs don't really match up with the Splitgate 2 lore. So the only thing I could really say is that this must be a different species of aliens. Okay, so Abyss, we're not entirely sure who made this, but we do know there are ancient Cochran symbols and structures everywhere. Forgone Destruction is made by the Cochran, but left the place behind, and the aliens that were on Impact more than likely were another species. My theory is that all of this took place before the Cochran went onto Earth, settling on Sanctum, making it their worship area. But then, when they did leave Earth, aka Sanctum, they left before the SSL could find them. Were you paying attention? Because if you were, you would notice when I was talking about the first Splitgate, I never said the SSL, but instead I said the Splitgate games. That's because I think that the first Splitgate was unofficial before the name the SSL and Splitgate 2 became official. But let's lock in for a second. What does these ancient Cochran symbols mean? Well, Inixty said that the symbols look mighty similar to the floating balls on Sanctum, which leaves us to the other symbols, but the real question is, do the symbols stand for a place, or are they words we don't understand yet? Similar to hieroglyphics. I guess the more we dive deeper, the more answers we accumulate. Did you know that in the first Splitgate, there are skins that has 3 factions from Splitgate 2 names on them before the faction system was made? I don't know the exact year when the faction system was created, but I do know is that it's around 2271. In Splitgate 2 Architect Discord server, BAMFG found some really cool Easter eggs around the library part in Academy. Some hidden Meridian robots in Glacier, and if there's any other Easter eggs that I missed, just tell me in the comments down below.